Hi everyone, welcome back. This is week 17 of my social isolation get ready with me's. I asked on Instagram stories if you guys wanted me to use the ColourPop Honey palette or the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum palette. And this one went back and forth constantly over 24 hours. And in the end, I've got a 50-50 between the two. But if I actually look at the votes, it's 52 for Honey and 51 for Hot Buttered Rum. So that's what we're gonna be using today. I'm going all out with the yellow. Just did my nails, gold backdrop, wearing a yellow dress that I just stuffed myself into. Fit much better last summer. And we're gonna go very yellow today. All right, starting off with primer as per usual. If anybody is ever curious about what products I'm using, if I don't mention them, they are always listed in the description box down below, including what I'm wearing and what's on my nails, because those tend to be some of the more popular questions. So if you're ever curious, just look in the description box. So I mentioned last week that my gym was going to be opening in my condo this week, and it did. I was very happy to go back down and at least lift some weights. I don't generally use my condo gym because it's really bad. And I discovered just how bad it was this time. The weights that they have down there are so sporadic. Like there's some 5-pound weights, some 10 pounds, which is great. 15, which is also handy. But then after 15, it jumps to like 25. There's no like in between numbers, and it's 25, 35, 45. And I'm like, this is something else. So I'm probably gonna have to pick up some actual weights that are in between, like 17 and a half and maybe 20s. And maybe some kettlebells. I think my friend recommended that. But I can't tell you how sore I am. I am in so much pain, and I did not much of anything. I did like a very low weighted split squats. We're talking like 10-pound dumbbells in my hands. So 20 pounds total, and my butt is on fire today. Like it is so sore. And it's just funny to me and slightly sad because I'm used to like squatting 140 pounds, 150 pounds, and I'm like struggling hardcore after doing 20-pound dumbbell split squats. Woo! But I seriously can't express to you the amount of joy that I got out of just going into the condo gym and lifting little weights. Like I am just so freaking happy to be doing that. And it's been so hot in Toronto in the past week. It's been like easily 35 degrees every day, which is what? I don't know, maybe 95? I don't really know the conversion to Fahrenheit. That I also ended up running on the treadmill in the gym too, which treadmill running is something else entirely. It is hard to do compared to just like running outside, but I cannot with the heat outside. So I was very happy to be in a very air-conditioned gym. Okay, so Honey palette by ColourPop. Super excited about this palette. I've used it quite a few times, and I initially always felt like it was a little bit too pale because there's not a lot of deepener colors in here. Like this is medium at best. But for whatever reason, when I stick to a rather subtle eye with this, it comes out beautifully. So what we're gonna do today, I think I'm gonna start with, Oh Behave through the crease. I feel like I always start out these videos by talking about exercise, and I'm sorry if that really doesn't interest people, but it's a big part of my life. And it's been a chunk that's been missing from my life lately. So to have that back for me right now is just, it's motivating, it's relieving, it just feels really amazing, to be honest. And I'm not gonna be one of those people that jumps back into going to like a public gym right away. I'm a member at the YMCA, although they put our accounts on hold immediately as soon as COVID happened so that we weren't paying for it, which was really nice. But even if the gym's reopened, I would not be going back in right away just because it doesn't feel safe. But they haven't opened, or at least the YMCA hasn't opened, so it's something I have to think about just yet. Anyway, I'll move on from exercise because I know that everybody loves hearing about that. One of the shows that I have been excited to talk about in this video that I started watching recently is Anne with an E. And I know it's been canceled. It's only made it through 3 seasons. But I am so, I don't even know what the word is, enamored, I guess, by this show. So for those who aren't aware, Anne with an E is based on Anne of Green Gables, which was a story by Lucy Maud Montgomery in the early, I think it came out in the early 1900s. It's a Canadian story. And I've always really had a thing for redheaded women. Like I find them not only beautiful, but I've always really loved storylines involving them, like Fifi Brin d'Acier, which is Pippi Longstocking in English, but I watched it in French when I was a kid. And then I always loved The Little Mermaid. I loved Anne of Green Gables. I just always had a thing for redheaded women. So I remember reading the Anne of Green Gables stories when I was a kid, and I went to PEI and went to the Green Gables actual like farmhouse and house, and I was just really enamored with the show that came out. Was it in the 90s with Megan Follows? I loved that show. But when Anne with an E launched on TV, I guess it was a few years ago, I didn't want to watch it because I so loved the Megan Follows version that I felt like I'd be disloyal watching the new one. But it came on Netflix recently and I was just like, okay, give it a shot. And I busted through that entire first season in like 3 days. I just love it so freaking much. Okay, let me continue with the tutorial before I start talking about Anne with an E for too long. I'm going to take Queen Bee on a flat shader brush and put that all over the lid. I'm trying to stick with colors that I don't normally use, just to, you know, get a little bit of variety out of this palette for me. So the reason that I find Anne with an E so endearing is not only is it set in like olden times and all that, but it's just so beautifully innocent. It takes me back to when I was watching the previous Anne of Green Gables with Megan Follows in it, and I'm so in love with the characters. The actors are fantastic, and now I'm so sad that I didn't get into it when it initially launched, because now it's been canceled after 3 seasons. So I started season 2 this morning, and I'm gonna be really flippin' sad when I get to the very end of season 3, because apparently the season 3 ended like dramatically. I don't know, a few people have told me that it's quite the episode, and I'm just like, but there's no more after it, then what? So we'll see how it is. So if you've been on the fence about watching Anne with an E, I would give it a shot. It's really brought a smile to my face in like the last week, which was just really nice, because I haven't been watching a lot of TV recently. Although The 100 did come back on, so that's on its final season, so I've been watching that too. It's definitely better this season. I loved seasons 1 and 2, but after that it kind of just, I felt like it lost its way a little bit, but it seems to have gotten back to it this season, which is good because it's the very last one. Okay, so to deepen up the outer corner, we're going to take Buzzkill. And this shade is not very dark, but it will deepen up the look a little bit. Yeah, see, that's like barely giving me anything. This palette has no brow bone highlight shade, so I'm going to use my Wet n Wild Brulee single to highlight my brow bone. Everything is just very yellow in there, so I can't really use any of that up here, because it'll just look a little bit funny on me. Yellow is one of those colors that I always felt was just not impactful enough, so I never wore it except for like maybe a gold on the eyelid, but putting together a yellow eye look for whatever reason has given me a lot of life in the last year, and I think it's really ever since this palette came out, to be honest. I don't really want to make this a winged eyeliner look, but I am going to add a little bit of liner to the like right edge of my lashes because I do want to put falsies on, and of course I'm using my Physicians Formula eye booster. So when I'm doing this, I'm just trying to hug my lash line so that there's a little bit there, because I mostly just want to be able to cover the eyelash band, but I don't really want to have an eyeliner look. So I just try to keep it as tight as possible, because I'm not especially good at putting on false lashes so close to my lash line that they look invisible. Some people can do that. I am not that person. I'm just going to stop it there. I'm not going to create a wing. I'm just going to stop it at the edge of my eye. I've just realized that maybe me explaining Anne of Green Gables made absolutely no sense to most people because they don't know the storyline. It's about an orphan girl. She's about 12 or 13 years old who gets adopted by a family in Prince Edward Island, and she's very romantic and airheaded's not the right word, but she's always like dreaming up different situations and circumstances, and everything is beautiful and wonderful to her. And it's such a sweet storyline to read of her growing up. Okay, zoomed you back out because we're gonna do a face for now before we return to the eyes. Sticking with my tried and true Revlon full cover foundation. It's just a great foundation, and I know it matches me right now, so that's what I'm sticking with. I've just put probably too much on the back of my hand, just dotting it on. And And then blending it out with a damp beauty blender, which this beauty blender has lasted me forever. I think I've had it more than a year and a half now, and it shows literally no signs of giving up. I was gonna just say I cleaned it, but I just dabbed a little bit of foundation over it, and it looks brand freaking new yet again. It never tears. I know I used to rave on and on about the Real Techniques of Miracle Complexion Sponge, but I'm a beauty blender convert now. Like, I'm not going back to Real Techniques after I finished up this one and then my stash of Real Techniques ones. Beauty blender has stolen my heart for sure. And it's not even that it applies the foundation any differently. It definitely doesn't, in my opinion, but they last so much longer. I know I've talked about this before, but it's worth reiterating because this sucker is very old and still kicking. Oh, so this past, I guess it was weekend, I broke my self-imposed no-buy. I didn't really have any kind of restrictions set on it for myself. I didn't say like I wasn't gonna buy anything for 6 months or anything like that. I just was like, I don't want to buy anything. Well, I don't know what's going on with all this COVID-19 and coronavirus stuff. Apparently I didn't have enough foundation. And I finally broke it because I could not stop thinking about the Glam Light Cake palette. I mentioned in, what did I call the video? Something like frivolous products I wish I'd purchased before quarantine. And I mentioned the cake palette in there, and honestly, I have not stopped thinking about that thing in the like 4 months it's been since I posted that video. So I was browsing their website the other day, and I was like, you know what? Just order it. Just get it. You've been thinking about it for months. Sure, you're not going to be using it that frequently because you're not leaving the house that often, but you really want it, and you might as well buy it. So I picked that up. Don't know how long it's going to take to get here. I think they ship from the UK, so it could be quite a while. And then the other thing I picked up recently was just yesterday, last night, I think. I had a few glasses of wine. I'm like, I really miss my Bath & Body Works Tiki candle, Tiki Beach candles. I miss that smell so much. So I was on the Bath & Body Works USA website because I have no Canadian website, which is really frustrating. And I saw that they had like the single wick candles on sale for 10 bucks. And I was like, you know what? Just do it. So I ordered 4. And I was pleasantly surprised that the shipping price was not what I had been led to believe. I feel like people had told me that the shipping from Bath & Body Works from the US was like 30 or 50 bucks. It was like $10 in shipping and then $5 in duties. I was like, okay, sold. So I bought 4 of those candles. And honestly, I can't wait to have them because I've still been burning the leaves candles that I've had since the fall, and it's actually messing with my brain. Like, it's the middle of July right now, but because I'm smelling this leaves candle, I feel like it's September. It's really bizarre. But those 2 purchases really did like quite a bit to like up my spirits. I just haven't been shopping much because there's really no point. But they're 2 items that I'd really wanted for quite a while. And I ordered them and I'm really happy about it. Okay, for bronzer, I'm gonna be using the Fenty Beauty, what do you call it? Sunstalker. I love that name. Yeah, in the shade Shady Biz. This is their second lightest shade. I wanted something a little bit more golden for this look, so I went up a shade. I usually use, I guess it's Into Sun. Why can't I find the brush I'm looking for here? Aha, here we go. I usually use Into Sun because it's a little bit more of a neutral tone for me, and this one's a little bit more golden. But with all the yellow, I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more bronzy. I've been trying to follow some of the new makeup launches on like Trend Moon and stuff like that. But is it just me, or is there nothing interesting coming out? Like, there's no new makeup launches, and I don't know if it's because nothing is actually that appealing to me anymore, or if just a lot of brands like pulled all of their launches because they knew that people wouldn't be buying that many. I feel like everything I see on Trend Mood is like boring, just dull. Either it's like skincare or it's like a launch that's like feels like it's completely irrelevant. It's just kind of strange. But maybe that's just me. Is there any launches that you guys are looking forward to or that have come out that you've been really impressed with? Because I honestly can't think of anything. And I can't even think of anything that Too Faced has even released in recent memory. They used to pop out collections all the time, and I don't know what the last one was at all. For blush, I'm gonna go with this Estee Lauder Witty Peach color. How freaking stunning is that? Except it's a little bit hard to get it off the pan, I feel like. I'm just gonna smoosh it all together. Oh, it's coming off more than I thought it did. I guess I haven't used this recently. Oh, there, that's the problem. It comes off on the brush, but it's not coming off on my face. Maybe a little bit? I remember buying this and being so excited by it and then getting it and just being kind of deflated. Like, it's still really pretty looking, but I'm just really struggling with color payoff here. I guess I'm getting a little bit, but it's not that much. And this is the moment where I don't think it's coming off and then I overdo it. So for highlighter, I'm gonna use something that they no longer make by BECCA. This is the Light Chaser highlighter in Pearl Flashes Gold, and this is my most yellow highlighter, so I wanted to use that because it just goes with the whole look. I had to repress it though because it shattered to pieces one day and I was so sad. I do actually have a video on repressing broken powders like eyeshadows or highlighters too. It's kind of old, but the content is still relevant, so I can link to that down below in case you're interested. Yeah, see how yellow that is? Love it. Okay, face is done. Very simple overall. We're gonna zoom you back in and we'll continue with the eyes. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna keep it soft with Oh Behave. I'm just gonna layer that all down here. I'm still not over that sort of blown out eye look, so I take my shadow pretty low down here. I didn't for the longest time. I used to keep it so tight to my lower lash line, but I never really liked it that way and it never really looked that blended. So one day I think I just started dragging it lower and lower and I was a little bit scared, but I ended up really liking the overall effect of myself. It's almost like, I don't know, I don't use concealer and I don't use under eye concealer at all. So I'm almost like filling in that sort of area with eyeshadow. I mean, I guess I could put concealer down there, but I hate concealer. I never think it looks that good. And I just get massive creasing and crepiness in this area if I put concealer there. So I just don't. And I don't feel like it's super necessary. Yeah, that's a lot of yellow. Some people probably think I'm overdoing it, but I kind of like it. You can always take like another clean brush, this one's clean, and then just blend out the edges if you want it to be a little bit more soft. There is a pressed glitter in here called Palooza. I know people feel a certain kind of way about pressed glitters, but I really like them. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this, and I'm gonna put it on the inner corner of my eye. Oh, that is such a pretty pressed glitter. This one has a lot of sticky properties to it, so you can use a glitter glue if you want, but I find this mostly just stays put of its own accord. Oh, that's funny. On camera, it just comes across as like yellow with flashes of gold. In person, I'm getting like orange reflect to it. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see it there. Okay, for liner, sticking with the yellow theme, I'm using my NYX Off Tropic Pro Liner in the shade Pineapple Punch. To finish the eyes, I'm going to apply my mascara, which is the Hourglass Caution Mascara, to both my top and bottom lashes. And then I'm going to follow them up with some Socialized Butterfly lashes. They're very small, fake lashes. I just wanted a little bit of extra oomph. And then I'll do my brows, and I'll be right back to apply the lips. Okay, and to finish everything off, I'm going to be using my really beat up tube of Wet n Wild's 903C Just Peachy. This is such a flattering color. I'd said just recently that I thought that these were being discontinued because I couldn't see them in drugstores anymore, but somebody in my comments said that they were repackaging them. And man, I hope that's true because these are fantastic lipsticks, but the packaging is just such trash. Like, I've taped up this one because the plastic is cracked everywhere, and even then, like, it pops off all the time. And there we have the finished look. I love yellow. It's just become such a fun color to use in makeup. In the last year, I feel like it definitely hasn't ever really been a favorite color of mine previously, but something happened last summer and I just love the look of yellow eyeshadow. It's much paler than what I would normally go for. You have probably seen that I tend to add like a lot of darker colors in the outer corner just because I feel like I really like that look on me. But there's something to be said about just straight yellow. And I just really adore it. So that's gonna be it for week 17. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will hopefully see you next time. Bye.